Norland, the year 2898 since the creation of the world. 200 years have passed since the great Crimson Empire perished in the flames of the religious war. Its former provinces have become the barbaric kingdoms kept from mutual destruction only by the all-powerful Church of the Mother Sophia. While the holy prophets speak of the impending end of the world, in one small kingdom, a dream of the birth of a new empire is taking shape. That dream begins here in Sparksville. It was a twinkle in the eye of the ambitious Kaiden King, Tidric. We join him at a tumultuous point in his life. He has inherited a derelict town from his father. His wife has been kidnapped by bandits, and his only glimmer of hope is that his brother Gunther knows how to manage a province. The two brothers knew they would need to fight the bandits soon. Kaiden do their negotiations with a sword, and while Tidric was known for his beauty and nervousness, he could certainly use a sword. Unfortunately, the number of good men who would fight with them was small, so they spent the day making grand plans of what Sparksville could become, should they survive the upcoming battle. Gunther quickly took over the planning. He knew how to give orders to civilians better than Tidric ever could, but Tidric knew how to give orders to warriors. They rallied the men, and they headed south. They won the battle, captured several bandits, and saved Queen Vesna. They headed back home together. Queen Vesna was as beautiful as Tidric, if not more, but she had low fertility. She was also exceptionally intelligent and quite the academic. We'd soon have the library ready for her to be able to read often, where she could learn and share forgotten knowledge with us. Tidric's skill, aside from fighting, which was more his hobby, was his statecraft skills, manners and persuasion. His good looks and his Kaiden approach to banditry quickly made him popular with his Kaiden neighbours in the province of Treewood. Their king Rory was quick to offer Tidric an alliance. Tidric toured the neighbouring provinces to establish himself with the lords. Gunther continued to make the shared vision of a modern town a reality. The library was finished and Vesna was soon glued to the few books we managed to buy from the trader. Vesna researched rye and beer brewing. Gunther planned the farms, and Tidric continued to meet the other lords. Tidric continued to fight the bandits in the lands, often capturing them as prisoners and then, later, releasing them. Almost all of them would choose to join him once released. The other kings loved him for his heroism against bandits. He would often visit them after clearing their province of criminals. He was both commander and politician. For tax reasons, he kept his soldiers to 10 men. In due time, he would select loyalists from his town and train them to become the best soldiers in the land. The growing community insisted on giving Tidric an official coronation, and so begins his legacy as a king. Civilization disappears gradually. The process can last for centuries, and ordinary citizens don't notice anything until the very end. But a ruler knowledgeable in history must understand that only by uniting the warrior kingdoms can he prevent the onset of the Dark Ages. Norland is now at a crossroads. the Church has long been unable to cope with the variety of challenges its people face. Frequent wars, famine, and disease have become commonplace. Technologies and knowledge are not yet lost, but if nothing is done, they will soon disappear, and with them, civilization will vanish. The king was forever travelling, but he had to make time to keep his relationships at home too. We had hired Lord Treminius, a fellow Kaiden, to help Gunther manage the growing town. Treminius was envious of Tedric's fame in battle, and so Tedric had to make time for his closest lords whenever he had time. At the same time, the Church of Mother Sophia appointed us a bishop. Our bishop was a fanatic named Rory. It was fortunate that Rory was mentally impaired and ascetic. Tedric did not expect him to be much of a problem. In more pressing matters, we needed iron. Sparksville had little access to mines, and we would need to build our relationship with Dust Valley to buy iron from them. We'd happily sell them moonshine too. Gunther would no doubt get us good prices with his trade skills. Unfortunately, Tedric's continuous travel and Gunther's lack of a wife meant that a flame had begun to burn between Gunther and Vesna. Tedric would have to find Gunther a wife soon for the sake of the kingdom. But Tedric had bandits to vanquish. The weak economy of Sparksville were depending on Tedric to fight bandits and make trade partners. He had no time to ponce around town. For the first time in his life, Gunther became jealous and resentful of Tedric. However, the king was a charming man, and it was hard to dislike him when they met in person. The king continued to free the bandits he captured, as he considered it the traditional Kaiden way. They always chose to join his army, and his military strength was well known. His neighbour, Greatmist, asked for his aid in battle, and he was quick to help an ally. This left Gunther and Vesna alone for a few days. To try to mitigate the problem, Tedric asked Gunther to do trade negotiations outside Sparksville and away from Vesna's library. The management of the town would take a downturn, but it was for the best until we found Gunther a suitable wife. After a few days, the enemy attack from Misthaven on Greatmist occurred. Their forces were greater than expected, and Tedric was the only lord to aid Greatmist. This would be Tedric's most difficult battle to date. Tiedric and his ally, Lord Torillo of Great Mist, fought valiantly against the aggressor. Tiedric had made a friend for life in Torillo. The timing was also perfect for the passing Gunther to make a deal with Great Mist to buy our surplus rutabaga, while Tiedric could finally head home to see his queen. At home, new problems were festering in Traminius the Envious, and the king's many wounds would take time to heal. His looks would soon be diminished by the many battle scars he carried. He had also fallen in love with Tefnuta of Dust Valley during his many travels. The problems continued. The bishop prophesied a large pack of flesh wolves attacking the town in 3 days. But the vision he and his brother had some time ago was becoming a reality. Sparksville grew. He also had a date with Vesna to look forward to, while Gunther spent time with Tefnuta. Nothing united Kaiden better than a fight though. Some foolish bandit seeking to make a name for himself reminded them of the value of working together. In the coming days we renegotiate our alliance with Treewood, making ourselves the leader of the new alliance of Norland. Then, as the bishop predicted, flesh wolves descend upon Sparksville. Tiedric and Traminius heroically saved the town in true Kaiden fashion, beating the flesh wolves with their bare hands when their spears and daggers broke. The wounds were substantial this time, and the king would be adding new scars to his collection. The new alliance of Norland quickly grew, with our old friend Torillo keen to join us. After many continuous battles, King Cedric finally found his limit. He was beaten down and exhausted. This gave Cedric some time to spend with Vesna, and as a result, Vesna was soon pregnant. It was also a good time to find Gunther a wife. The town had grown considerably, but Tedric's time for rest was cut short when his good friend Torillo requested help against forest bandits. No good Cadian would let a friend stand alone in battle. Time passed, and soon a princess was born, Necbeta. Necbeta took charisma from her father and intelligence from her mother, and beauty from both. The birth of a daughter drew the king home for a day, but unfortunately not all news was good. Tedric spent some time in the council of the bishop, who told him that disease would infect the land soon. The province of Enchantment joined the alliance, broadening the alliance. Prior to this, a wife was found for Gunther, Philomira of Moonlake. It was not until after Gold had exchanged hands and Gunther was escorting the lady back did it become known to us that Philomira was blind. Philomira's blindness meant that management or reading was not her strong suit. She was, however, very charismatic, more so even than Tedric. An opportunity had appeared for Philomira to become the diplomatic representative of King Tedric, and she excelled at it. Philomira could do the politics, while Tedric did what he enjoyed best. Philomira's hometown called for our help, and Tedric answered the call. Our army was growing considerably, and we began to let the cutthroats go to save on taxes. We would soon train up an army of loyalists. So we expanded the barracks, and at the same time Gunther was quite busy too, making children. Philomira was pregnant. Soon Moonlake, Philomira's hometown province, joined our growing alliance, making us the most powerful alliance in Norland. Our vision of a well-trained army of loyalists was beginning to become a reality. Traminius was an excellent combat trainer. His Cadian combat skills rivaled that of King Tiedric. However, his lust for status and women made him disloyal. He resorted to sleeping with peasants and he blamed the king for it. Tiedric tried to introduce him to lords, but he had very little charm. The king also had the smallpox to deal with. Many citizens of Sparksville perished to the smallpox. Then, as if by fate, Tiedric's good friend Tarillo's daughter had just become of age. Talia was young and intelligent. Traminius did not deserve such a fine young woman, but Talia could perhaps be his better half and save him from his path of disloyalty. Tiedric also managed to make use of the freeloading bishop, as he had him educate Gunther's newly born daughter, Terramena. Terra was a bright child, taking persuasion skills from her mother and management skills from her father. Should we all survive this smallpox blight, the next generation of Kaiden were going to be very powerful. It was only the next day that we received word that the unholy horde planned to pillage Sparksville. Our army was prepared, and in a spectacular show of loyalty, our many allies came to aid us. Great Mist, Moonlake, Tree Lake, and Enchantment all sent soldiers to our aid. The clans were united. It was an opportune time for the Alliance to build stronger ties with one another. These moments before battle were a time of celebration among the Alliance. Unfortunately, our barracks exceeded its capacity, and we struggled to accommodate everyone. The excitement of battle seemed to get Tiedric in the mood, and him and Vesna conceived a second child. The horde would arrive today. The allies prayed for victory, but they knew even if the Mother Sophia were to forsake them today, their strength and alliance would give them victory regardless. So many had died from the smallpox that the second temple was empty. Perhaps the Mother Sophia had already forsaken them enough. Perhaps the land deserved better than what the church was offering. The horde was here, and we would meet them on the battlefield. Do not let their small numbers fool you. These demons have an unholy capacity in combat. The battle was quick and decisive. The new alliance of Norland appeared unstoppable, but the King Tiedric was still to learn that the most dangerous enemies can be those closest to us.